There was a dark forest, known as the Forest of Black Trees, where few dared to venture. Local residents avoided it, fearful of the macabre stories that surrounded the region. They said that those who entered the forest never returned. A fearless group of young people, eager for strong emotions, decided to defy the legends and explore the forest. Armed with flashlights and courage, they entered the dense forests. At first, everything seemed peaceful. Only the echo of their footsteps and the rustling of the trees accompanied them as they advanced. The atmosphere changed. The air became denser, and the shadows seemed to take on a life of their own. Suddenly, a scream echoed through the forest, causing everyone to freeze. It was a human scream, filled with despair and agony as they approached. A whispering murmur filled the air. The tree began to contort, its branches turning into sharp claws. Horrified, the young men tried to retreat, but it was too late. The forest had captured them in its dark claws, one by one. They disappeared into the darkness, devoured by the echo of the black trees. Their screams mingled with the wind, warning others who dared challenge the forest's hidden secrets. The group of young men who dared to enter the Forest of Black Trees was never heard from again. Their fates were sealed by the sinister echo that still resonates among the shadows, a grim reminder of the relentless power that dwells in the darkness of nature. The echo of the young people's screams disappeared into the dense vegetation of the forest, leaving only an unsettling silence in the air. Night enveloped the forest with its oppressive darkness, and the stars seemed to avoid that cursed place. The black tree stood like a shadowy sentinel, its ominous presence seeming to feed on the fear that hung in the air. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of the forest, the locals kept their doors locked and avoided any mention of the Black Tree Forest. The elders murmured about ancient pacts and curses that had haunted these lands for centuries, but few dared to challenge these taboos. However, a courageous outsider, driven by curiosity and a thirst for knowledge, decided to investigate the mysteries surrounding the forest. Ignoring the warnings of the locals, she entered the dark reaches of the forest. Determined to uncover its hidden secrets, she ventured deeper into the forest. The stranger found herself surrounded by an aura of uneasiness. The sounds of nature seemed distorted, and shadows danced among the trees like hungry specters. She sensed that she was not alone in that cursed place, that something ancient and evil was watching her from the shadows. Between the twisted trunks, she saw a faint, pulsing light. Guided by an inexplicable force, she cautiously approached. What she found was a clearing lit by a bluish flame, where a hooded figure stood before an ancient altar, muttering arcane words in a language forgotten by time. The stranger's heart quickened with fear, but also with a strange fascination. Before she could step back, the hooded figure raised its head, revealing glowing, empty eyes that seemed to probe her soul. In an instant, she knew that she had encountered something beyond human understanding, something that had awakened from the depths of the forest to claim its next victim. The outsider felt an icy shiver run down her spine as the hooded figure's empty eyes stared at her with intensity. A feeling of dread enveloped her, but her curiosity and determination kept her in place. Even though her legs were begging to run away, the figure raised a skeletal hand towards him, and unintelligible words flowed from its lips in a deep, chilling whisper. The stranger tried to step back, but her legs refused to obey. As if they were rooted to the floor of the clearing. Suddenly, the forest seemed to come to life, the twisted branches of the trees writhing like hungry serpents toward the intruder. Serpentine roots emerged from the ground, trapping her in a cold, unforgiving embrace. She screamed in despair, but her voice was lost in the dark echo of the forest. With the feeling of helplessness intensifying, the stranger fought against the despair that threatened to consume her. She closed her eyes for a moment, searching for courage within herself, defying the terror that surrounded her. When she opened them again, a fierce determination glowed in her gaze, a flame of resistance against the darkness that threatened to engulf her. With superhuman effort, she focused her energy, channeling it into a final act of defiance against the sinister forces imprisoning her. With a scream of fury and will, she called upon powers she barely understood, breaking through the roots that held her captive and driving the hooded figure away with a blast of energy. Freed, but still surrounded by imminent danger, the stranger ran desperately through the forest, guided only by the instinct of survival. The echo of her footsteps mingled with the unsettling sighs of the trees, each sound a constant reminder of the threat that stalked her. The forest seemed to contort around her, the paths crumbling and rebuilding before her as if they were a living manifestation of the terror that haunted her. She knew that she couldn't surrender, that she needed to find a way out before it was too late. Amid the chaos that surrounded her, the stranger saw a faint light shining between the trees. A glimmer of hope rose in her chest as she headed toward that small spark of salvation, praying that it would be her redemption or her final undoing. If you liked it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel.